Now, management is a term that we use on regular basis. I'm sure you might have observed this thing as well, that if you are having a sort of party or a social function or ceremony, then many of your friends or family members would wear a hat of manager. They would be dealing with the supply side. They would be checking whether the items that have been ordered have arrived or not. They would be making all the payments and going through the checklist, etc., etc. And if we observe in other areas as well, like say for example government, then we know that earlier it used to be that government was more sort of administrative, and when we talk about administration, I'm talking about the more rule based, or it is more about like ruling people, right? It used to be like that, but nowadays we are seeing a sort of drastic change in this area as well. And at present government is trying to provide the sort of similar sort of customer services that are being provided by private companies. But the other area we see management working is basically in foreign companies that are trying their luck in India, and hopefully they will succeed as well, because India itself is ready to become the sort of manufacturing hub for the world. And we know that once we become that, or in this process as well, we are going to grow economically, and we know the relation as well that once we have enough money, once the government has enough money in its hand, if everyone is getting job and things like that, if the environment, overall economic environment is good, then we can safely say that we are heading towards development, isn't it? Now the thing is, if we want to develop our country, then we need economic growth, and for economic growth we need the businesses to survive and thrive and flourish, isn't it? So who are the people who are behind successful businesses? It is the managers, isn't it? Now you know that if you go to the top companies, and you can have all the resources, like you can have capital or money in your hand, you can have all the access to raw material and other resources or other supply chain thing, but if you don't have good managers, if you don't have right person at the right time, in the right job, at the right pay, then you are not going to be competitive, or you are not going to flourish. This is simple as that, isn't it? Now the thing is, from where do you get these people? There are two places or two platforms. One is the practical one, what basically means that you open a business, you start doing things, and then you learn as things turn up. And the other side is academic world, where you enroll yourself to a sort of institutions or academic institution, where you'd be trained, you'd be taught what are the things that are going on in the practical world. You will learn from the theories the best practices and the mistakes that should be avoided, things like that. So in fact we can safely say that managers play a very important role in nation building. And when we talk about producing managers, then in particularly academic world, then of course IIM is an institution that is in India considered as a jewel of the crown. But when there are problems going on within this institution, this jewel of the crown, then of course this problems become a sort of national problem, isn't it? Today we are going to analyze, today we are going to find out what are the problems, and then we will analyze how we can solve it. Or let me put it this way, we will try to provide a sort of managerial solution to this particular issue. I am Prashant Mauni, and I welcome all of you to StudyIQ. Now before moving ahead, please allow me to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses. Now StudyIQ presents different, or it basically provides you different pen drive and tablet courses for SSC, bank, UPSC and other government exams. And the good thing about them is that they are designed by top faculties, one of the best faculties of our country. So you are not only getting a sort of study material, but you are also getting experience of this top faculties. If you have any further question or queries regarding it, you can feel free to give us a call on this number, or you can check out our studyiq.com website as well. Now dear friends, there is a bill that is pending in the parliament, and it has been basically passed by the Lok Sabha, that is the lower house, but it is pending in the Rajya Sabha. Now what this bill is all about. Today I'm asking many questions, but I think if we ask questions, then we would be able to find some answers as well, isn't it? So what is this bill all about? The bill basically is going to, once it is passed, it will provide a sort of tag to IIMs, and the tag is institutions of national importance. Once this is passed, they will become institutions of national importance, and after that they would be able to award MBA degrees instead of diplomas. The drawback of diploma is that foreign students are not coming to study in this IIM, because when they go back with diplomas, they are not that much appreciated, or they are not that much in demand in their countries and back home. So that is the reason we are losing many foreign students. The other thing is that if these IIMs are able to award MBA degrees, then the faculties as well, the top faculties around the world, would be interested in sharing their knowledge in these institutions. Apart from that, this bill is also talking about autonomy, and we know the role of autonomy. If government is interfering in the day-to-day working of any educational institution, then we know that politics and other things will come as a side effect. So it is talking about this thing as well. But now the question is, what is the problem? We cannot identify any problem over here, right? There is a group called Global IIM Alumni Network. For the sake of convenience, I'm just going to call them GYAN in this particular lecture. Now they are unhappy about it. Now, who are the members of this group? They are basically the ex-students, the students who used to be the part of this IIMs, and now they are working in different areas in different parts of the world. So they are not happy about the bill. And what is the main problem? The problem is that there is a sort of research that has been conducted by a researcher from IIM Bangalore, and his name is Siddharth Joshi, and a faculty member of again IIM Bangalore named Deepak Malghan. Now these two gentlemen, they have conducted a research, and the result of the research is indicating some shocking data. Basically, it is saying that out of 512 faculty members who were part of this research, or on whom this research was conducted, this research indicates that out of this 512, only 2 belong to scheduled caste and scheduled caste. Only 13 belong to this OBC group, and there is sadly no faculty or no teaching staff from scheduled tribes. Now this 512 members are basically, the research is conducted throughout the country, right? And I must also add that many IIMs have not many faculties or many IIMs have not taken part in this research as well. Earlier, when this research was, say for example, conducted in June, it is a sort of ongoing process. So during this Feb 2017, at that point of time, or March 2017 till this point of time, there were many IIMs that have not responded. So at that point of time, there were this research was taking a group of 300 or 350 people. But now, as we are speaking, September 2017, we have data of 512 IIM faculty members, right? So why this issue is now, why this is happening, why we don't find people from scheduled tribe as faculty members? The thing is that if we understand the structure of IIM, how faculties, generally speaking, how they are selected is they are 2/3, right? Basically 2/3 of this IIT faculties are trained by institute itself. That means they used to be students over here, postgraduate. After that, they might have done sort of a PhD from here, and once they have done PhD, they are taken on board as faculty members. Now these two gentlemen, Joshi and Malghan, what they are saying is that if you do not provide reservation during the time of postgraduate courses, during the time of entry in these postgraduate courses, then naturally, as 2/3 of this faculty members are selected from postgraduate students, so we are not going to find we are not going to find a sort of diverse group of people as faculty members. Now IIM is saying that, it is claiming, or it is arguing that it is not something that we are doing deliberately. It is something that has its root in history, because historically this under-representation of this group basically took place because they were not in a sort of competitive advantage because of various reasons, right? So what this GYAN group is basically asking for, or the main core demand of this group, is that the bill that is pending should not be passed. It should be amended, and it should ensure that it is as per the Constitution of India. Now we know that many a times when we talk about reservation, then you know that it turns out to become a sort of a bitter argument, because what happens is one group is saying that we want reservation, the other group is saying that reservation is all bad. So this is the thing. I'm sure you might have heard about you might have heard this sort of arguments many a times. But what I see is that if we understand, or if we go through our constitution, then it is crystal clear. Once we go through the clauses of our constitution or articles in our constitution, then we can know that the reservation is all not bad, isn't it? Now let me introduce you to, say for example, what our constitution is saying. Like if we go through Article 15, then it clearly says that Article 15 says that the state, right, when I say state, I'm talking about government. It could be in any form. It could be institutions that are set up by government. If they are getting aid by the government, if they are getting any sort of financial or any sort of help, then they also become part of state. It could be your local municipality, it could be state government, it could be national, central government. Everything falls under the, and it is clearly defined in the constitution as well. So when I say state, I'm talking about government in any form. So government is not allowed at all, as per the constitution, to discriminate against any citizen on 5 grounds. Now these grounds are religion, race, caste, sex, and place of birth. Now these are the things here. Now there are 2 important things that you should understand from here. One is discrimination and the other one is only. The word discrimination means to make an adverse distinction with regard to, or to distinguish unfavorably from others. That means if discrimination is negative, then it is not allowed, but if it is positive, then it is allowed. Second thing, when it comes to only, it means that the use of the word only connotes the discrimination on the ground, on other grounds is not prohibited. Means anything that is out of these 5 things, then it is not prohibited. And here basically this Article 15 provides a sort of 3 exemptions as well. Now once we understand this exemption, I'm sure things will be much more crystal clear. Like say for example, you are not allowed to say to distinguish any people on based of sex. That means male, female, or third gender. But we know that we know the situation of women in our country, and we know that we have to empower them. So for the empowerment of women, we have to provide them some sort of reservation, and that has been done in politics. Say for example, 33% reservation is allowed. This is a sort of push for the government. This is going to be, this sort of discrimination is not against, it is not negative for the man, but it is in fact positive for the woman. We know that there is a clause for free education as well, and this is going to help children in their development in eventually the whole country. The second thing is, the second exemption is that the state is permitted to make any special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens. And this, I'm talking about scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Now if you see here, right, you can clearly see this picture that this gentleman here, he does not, or this boy over here, he does not require a table to watch this particular match, but this one definitely, this man here requires one. So if you take out this table and if you give it to this one, then he is not going to suffer at all, isn't it? In fact, but he is going to enjoy this match, and all 3 would be at the same level. So this is the main idea behind reservation. If you think from your own perspective, whether you like it or whether you don't like it, then the thing that we are missing here is that if you think, or if you wear the glasses of government, then you will think that it is impossible to keep everyone happy. Say for example, if you are building a dam somewhere, then you have to relocate some people, right? But if this dam is going to be beneficial for, say for example, 50-60,000 people, and if you have to reshift 300-400 people, then of course you know that you should relocate these people, and of course you as a government, you should ensure that the pain of this relocation should be as low as possible. You should try to mitigate the pain, but if it is going to be beneficial for a larger audience, then of course that will be done, and that should be done by the government. So this is the main core of reservation. It is not about discriminating with any particular group, but it is about supporting the one who definitely or literally they require a sort of support from the government, a sort of hand holding. The third one is that it is comes to, again, this is an exemption, and it is empowering the government to make necessary changes, and when it comes to particularly educationally backward classes, and again we are talking about SC and STs, and this is pertaining to education institutions as well. Now this is applicable on private institutions as well. because earlier, when it was earlier, it was in the same form, but in 2005, in Inamdar case, the Supreme Court said that you cannot force, it said to the government that you cannot force educational institution to provide reservation, particularly the private education institution. But the government came out with a sort of constitutional amendment, 93rd Amendment Act 2005, and with the help of this, it nullified the order of Supreme Court. So this is a sort of example of check and balance as well. Right. Anyways, Article 16. Right. Article 16 says that equality of opportunity in public employment. Equality of opportunity for all citizens in matter of employment or appointment to any office under the state. Now we know that IIMs are basically run by government, or they are set up by the help of government. Now why we are talking about education and employment, because you know that 2/3, again I would like to remind all of you that 2/3 of this faculty of IIM are trained by, you can say that they used to be a student in this institution, isn't it? And diversity, remember, is of course beneficial for everyone, and we will try to have a sort of we will throw some light on this topic as well, how diversity is beneficial in corporate world or in education world. Now, as we know what Constitution is talking about, or what are the articles in Constitution about reservation, let's see what are the main or core demand of this Gyan group. Now what Gyan is saying, it is saying that this particular bill should not be passed from the parliament in this form, that it should include reservation for ST, SC and OBC, particularly in faculty selection. The other thing that it wants that reservations should also be provided in postgraduate, or say for example researchers, when this university is appointing anyone as a researcher, or postgraduate courses, basically, right, executive courses. In these courses as well, this reservations should be provided. Now, representative of this Gyan group, Arun Khobragade, and the point that he is presenting are quite logical, and I believe most of you will agree with him as well, that Harvard University and MIT, that is Massachusetts Institute of Technology, it is one of the best, it is #1 in the world, MIT. So MIT and Harvard University, they are also providing this sort of, they are called as affirmative or action policies. What this is all about is that if a sort of candidate or a student, if he is backward in some form, then they will provide a sort of hand holding, or he will be provide some sort of reservation. And what he is saying, Arun Khobragade, that at present there are many faculties in our country, they are working in top institutions, and they are product of this Harvard and MIT and other institutions which are providing this hand-holding scheme. And there are many CEOs and business leaders around the world as well who have got benefit of this thing, this hand-holding system provided by Harvard and MIT. And this is clearly, it is clear that if this thing was not provided by these top universities in the world, then of course these people would not be doing what they are doing at present, isn't it? We can safely say that. So this should be included in IIMs as well. And the sad thing is, as per Arun Khobragade, that this IIM bill that is pending in the Rajya Sabha, or you can say in the parliament, is silent about reservation on faculty. So what they are demanding, they are specifically saying that there should be to the point, and there should be specific provisions for such quotas when it comes to postgraduate students and when it comes to faculty members. And for that they have written a letter to Prime Minister of our country, they have written a letter to President of our country, they have written a letter to all the member of parliaments, and they have appealed that this should be done before this bill is passed. Apart from that, they have presented some other demands as well, and very quickly let me tell you that they have said that this IIM should be made more responsible, more socially responsible. At present, the thing about autonomy should be kept under the carpet, or you can say that it should, IIM should not be provided any sort of autonomy in its present form, because it has been misbehaving earlier as well. There was a case when MHRD, Ministry of Human Resource Development, it wrote letters to different IIMs requesting them to provide details regarding this reservation issue, but at that point of time as well, many IIMs never replied to MHRD, that is Ministry of Human Resource Development. So this group is asking, this Gyan group is saying that they should not be provided full autonomy, or else they will misbehave even further. The second thing is, or the other main things, it is, of course, you know that it is about development, or it is about providing a sort of hand-holding thing to SC, ST and OBC group. It is also saying that if you are recruiting anyone, then the faculty selection process should be video recorded. The selection committee of faculty, or may it be, you know that there are sort of interviews as well when it comes to postgraduate courses in this institutions. So and selection committee should also be diverse. It should have members from SC, ST and OBC. So these are the basic demands of this Gyan group. Now, concluding remarks, that means what could be a sort of solution, or again, not solution, but how we can manage it, isn't it? Because we are talking about IIM. So rather than providing a sort of simple solution, we should provide them a sort of managerial solution, isn't it? So what could be done about this? Now we know that it is crystal clear from our discussion that Constitution is providing a sort of reservation. It is providing authority to the government, to the state, that they can discriminate only when it is for the betterment of the people who are educationally, or you can say socially backward, isn't it? The one more important thing here is that this IIM bill, right, it offers IIMs unprecedented autonomy, and we know that if they are going to behave in this way, then it is going to be detrimental for the whole economy and for the development of our country, because you know why, you know the connection, isn't it, of economic growth and management. The other thing is the moral case for diversity and inclusion is intimately tied to the idea of public university. Public universities, if they are not inclusive, if they are not diverse, if you don't find diverse culture over there, then it is a matter of worry for the whole nation, isn't it? Because many times we hear this thing that ex-president, that is Pranab Mukherjee, has said many a time that diversity should be promoted in these institutions, in universities. He has said that it should be a sort of a place where people can dissent with each other, they can disagree with each other, they can argue with each other, right? They can debate with each other. It should be open. Ideas should be allowed to grow in university, and it is important for nation building as well. And if we go through the directive principles of state policy, and here I would like to quote Article 46, it clearly says that the state should promote the educational and economic interests of SC, STs and other weaker sections of society to protect them from social injustice and exploitation. This is Gandhian principle, which you find in directive principles of state policy as well. So it is clear that if this bill that is pending in the parliament, if it is not in line with, or if it is not allied with the constitution of our country, then of course necessary changes should be made in this particular bill. And let me tell you last thing, that multicultural environment, if you go to any bigger companies, any giants that are ruling around the world, may it be Coca-Cola, or may it be Tata's or Land Rovers or Apple or any other company, then you will find that their team would be coming from, or the people in their team would be coming from different cultures, they would be coming from different countries. And this is a beauty of corporate world, that you find bright people from you need a sort of right person for the right job at the right pay at the right time. So you cannot be limited to any particular group. You have to scan through all the things, all the people that are available in the market, and this applies to university as well. And if we don't train, if we are leaving SC, ST and OBC people, or the students belonging from this group, if they are not allowed, or if they are if there is a wall that they have to cross before entering this institution, then that is going to be detrimental for not only our society, but for our economy and the corporate world as well. With this, dear friends, I'm sure that today's discussion would have been fruitful. I believe that there are many things that we took today, that we discussed today, would have made this particular topic crystal clear to you. Do let me know what you think about this version, and do not forget to get your pen drive and tablet courses. As I told you, if you have any further question or query, feel free to give us a call on this number, or you can check out our StudyIQ.com website as well. You can download this lecture from our website, and you can also join our Telegram channel, on which you will be able to find this particular PDF file of this lecture. And if you want to join our Telegram channel, the subscription link is given below in the description of this particular video lecture. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this lecture with your friends and family. If there is someone in touch with you who is in IIM, then I would recommend all of you to share this link with them as well, because with this they will be able to understand. If many times we know that there are some things, the core issue about which we are not aware of, and it is important lecture, so share it on your social networking site as well. If you have learned something, if you think that this discussion was worthwhile, then do not forget to give us your like, and do let me know how you find, what do you think about this particular lecture. And with this, I would like to take your permission to say goodbye to you. My best wishes are always with you. May you succeed, shine, and excel. Jai Hind.